Well, what lies ahead as Donald Trump prepares to take over? I'm currently joined by Sameer Kedkar, U.S. immigration lawyer. I have Glenn Carl, former Deputy National Intelligence Officer for Transnational Threats, National Intelligence Council, former officer, Central Intelligence Agency. I also have Raymond Vickery, former U.S. Assistant and Secretary of Commerce. I also have Republican Matt Klink. He's a Republican strategist. Gentlemen, thank you very much for speaking with NDTV. My first question to you, Mr. Kedkar, and this is on the impact on Indian immigrants. Can India expect increased opportunities, considering Trump's emphasis on merit-based immigration? Could that benefit skilled Indian workers?
We are all waiting with bated breath to determine which direction this administration is going to go immigration-wise. On the one hand, there has been strong indications that he is pro-H-1B visa and has been listening extensively to individuals like Elon Musk and others as to the benefits of that visa. On the other hand, he has very entrenched policymakers who would like nothing more than to basically restrict immigration totally, right? So we actually have no idea how this is going to go, and we're very interested to see how this is going to play out.
Right. Mr. Glenn Carl, can we expect increased pressure on Russia in terms of the security policies of Donald Trump? Can we expect Trump administration to ramp up its pressure on Russia to bring peace to Ukraine, potentially including new sanctions and increased military aid to Ukraine?
Well, those are the echoes that we're hearing, or the rumors that we're hearing in the last couple of weeks. But like the gentleman just before me said, it's hard to know really what to expect, since Trump says alpha and omega simultaneously at all times, and acts more on whim in many ways. He has reflexive views rather than settled, detailed policies. I find it hard to believe that the United States under Trump would stop accepting H-1B visas, expert people who really drive the economy and create things like Google. And I also find it hard to believe that when push comes to shove, the administration will stop manual labor, which is critical for American agriculture. That some significant actions be taken to stop illegal immigration and to deport numbers of illegal aliens who are in the U.S., I think we'll see. But it's almost inconceivable that he follow the policies that he stated he would during the campaign.
Mr. Raymond Vickery, when you speak of trade and economy, can we expect a tariffs and trade wars under Trump? Is there a fear of that?
Well, thanks very much for having me. There's certainly a fear and concern about that. Trump has proven himself a transactional person time and time again who is in love with tariffs. He believes tariffs have a dual purpose. One, he thinks that somehow it increases prosperity because foreigners pay money into the United States. Of course, that's not correct. All the tariffs are actually paid by the importers. The other thing is he thinks it's a great leverage, that he can get what he needs by threatening tariffs. He has threatened across-the-board tariffs of 10% for India, for friends and foes alike, and for foes even greater tariffs. He doesn't seem to understand that tariffs are not a one-way street that benefits the United States. Retaliation is bound to occur if he follows through on these. So it's a transactional basis. I guess if you're looking for good news, it is that what he says is not always what he does. And what he says is often bluster for leverage to try to obtain something else. For U.S.-India relations economically, as you've pointed out in the report, India is the #1 trade partner with the U.S., has a lot at stake, and the United States has a lot at stake, not only because of the ability to have some of the best brains in the world from India that are helping our economy day in and day out, but because there is such great potential in terms of the growth of the relationship. I mean, there's no reason that the China-U.S. Economic relationship should so outpace at this point the India-U.S. The difficulty is going to be that Trump has proven that he is not interested in overall solutions. He's not interested in things particularly that are multilateral. WTO and other such fora will be off the table, which have benefited the United States in the past. But he wants to get something out of it for himself and for what he wants. Now, that could work in favor if he is able to see that his interests are aligned with India's. But he has, for example, a great interest in winning the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
Now, what's he willing to do in order to do that? Hopefully, the strong bipartisan support for U.S.-India relations will remain the bulwark in the future as it has been in the past, and will be able to take the relationship to greater heights.
Absolutely. Mr. Matt Klink, you know, it is very well established, and or rather, this is the impression that we get, that Donald Trump, he has been very transactional. As a businessman, as the president, do you feel that persona be good or bad for the rest of the world? Because we are really witnessing a very volatile environment, and everyone needs to tread very carefully, including the United States.
Well, I hate to break it to everyone, but every politician is transactional. So, I mean, that's the master of the obvious statement for this Sunday. You know, all that being said, all of the doom and gloom that people spread about Donald Trump, I will point out that when he was president 4 years ago, aside from COVID, over which he obviously did not start, you know, the American economy was strong. There was peace in the world. The environment over the last 4 years has been anything but stable from the U.S. economic perspective and the global affairs perspective. And the American people resoundingly rejected what the Biden-Harris administration tried to put forth in 2024. So, I mean, look, Donald Trump has largely an open playing field for the first 18 months of his presidency. The Republicans control both houses of Congress. He's going to get most of his heavy work done from a policy standpoint over the first 6 to 8 months of his presidency, and that will really define his success. So again, you know what I think a couple of my colleagues on this panel have said, but I think that people would be very wise to take Donald Trump seriously, but to not always take him literally in what he says, and that all of the bluster on tariffs, they've actually, just by the rhetoric alone, it's forced some solid movement from both Canada, from Mexico, and believe it or not, from Greenland, because they had been largely ignored by Denmark. They're going to get some more attention there, and that's a key strategic location for the U.S., aside from its location in the world, but also because of the rare earth minerals that it has there. So again, Donald Trump comes into office riding on a high. Joe Biden leaves as arguably the most unpopular president in American history. And the woke diversity, equity, and inclusion American weakness agenda that he fostered for the last 4 years was thrown out on its ear. So exciting day for America tomorrow, and hopefully for the rest of the world as well.
All right. Mr. Kedekar, you know, when you talk about the H-1B visa issue, do you expect Donald Trump's administration to introduce stricter regulations now?
So, if past practice is any indication of what the future would be like, I would say yes, because the individuals that he has entrenched with decision-making authority and power have a lot of knowledge about how the system works and had worked very hard in the past to restrict the H-1B visa. So our guess is yes, that we expect to see that. What's different this time is that Trump has actually come out and said he likes the H-1B. He's very much has the ear of Elon Musk, who also likes the H-1B. So we're not sure, again, at what point will he actually decide to, change his viewpoints or do something different.
Right. Mr. Carl, very quickly, are you expecting major shifts in U.S. defense strategy as well?
Yes, I think there will be. Trump, if he does have one philosophical position that is pretty consistent, he is an isolationist. There's a rich tradition of isolationism in the Republican Party, and there is a pretty clear amorphous desire expressed in polling by average Americans to, quote, be less involved in the world, unquote. Easy to express the hope, harder to do in practice for an infinite number of reasons. I think he'll try to increase the defense budget, but the issue, of course, is deficit and how to go two opposite directions simultaneously, and tax cuts. But and I think that he, as many of us have pointed out, since he is, it's true all politicians are transactional, meaning that they want to cut deals, but Donald Trump pursues deals rather than a philosophy in particular. So I think we will see more state-to-state bilateral pressures and interactions.
Absolutely. And Mr. Vickery, very quickly from you as well, Donald Trump has already threatened to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico as well as China. Can we also expect the same for India?
Yes, I think if India doesn't go along with what Donald Trump wants to have done in any shape or form, he'll resort to tariffs. That's been his history. He's already said that India is a great abuser of tariffs. So whether it be for Harley-Davidson motorcycles or things more important, yeah, I think that that's going to be on the table. The good news is, of course, that the U.S. has a lot at stake to play the transactional game. I'm sure that India will be able to play it as well. But it's not to the benefit of either country to concentrate on who wins and who loses. It's a question of how you can build a trade and build the economic relationship, which will have great benefit in terms of the geopolitical relationship between the U.S. and India.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for speaking with NDTV. I'm really short of time at the moment, but Donald Trump, he's back as the president. What can we expect? Everything is going to get clear by tomorrow.